Shall we do it? What do you think? Shall we do it? Yeah, let's do this, of course. And with that, me and my lovely wife have bought a Jaguar E-Type from Owen Automotive. It's going to be the future home of the junk E-Type engine, you better believe it. And I'm going to share the journey of bringing back this derelict car back on the road. So yeah, let's do this. All right, here it is, bright red 1967 fixed head coupe. It's been sitting at the shop for about 3.5 years, and we're finally gonna pour some life into it. Can't wait to see this thing on the road. May as well show you guys around the nose. I think this car has been in an accident at some point, and they skimmed over the seam right here. I don't mind too much, but it's definitely not original. See the valance, it's been crunched in a bit. And go inside here, you can see the inner panels, they aren't bonded to the outer shell anymore. So little detail things that are wrong with it. I think one of the fenders has been replaced too. See a little bit of bumpy textures up in there. Definitely the worst part about this car is the nose, but I think it's usable. Not gonna rip this apart, not gonna do a full restoration, just gonna leave this as is and throw it back on the car. So the car itself, we're looking at the back half here. It's really nice. There's no rust, no accident damage, so I'm really liking that. The engine bay has been painted black. I'll show you what that looks like once we clear it out. And inside, just been piling up a lot of parts collected over the years for all the things that are missing with this car. So yeah, I'll clear it out, then we'll tell you a little bit more about the car and have a better look. All right, got all the junk out of the bay, and what's missing? Yep, no engine. So that's one reason why we were able to obtain this car at a pretty good rate, is that it had no engine whatsoever. What was previously fitted in here was a Ford V8 from Shelby, and that was ordered to make this thing into a drag car. So at some point in this life, this had a Shelby 289. It was a black on black car, drag raced in and around Lake Washington. Don't have any pictures. I really wish. That would be pretty sweet to see what this thing was like back in the day. We had the option to actually buy the Shelby engine, but I think it was another $7,000 and it had been detuned, so who knows what was inside, so really opted not to go that route. First thing to look at here is a chassis tag. This is the original chassis tag. Doesn't look like it's ever been out. You see the chassis number there, 1E32915. Also got the engine number here. Yeah, I wonder where this engine's at. It probably was a good engine, so it might still be in somebody's car. So yeah, as I said earlier, it's all been painted black. I actually took some components out like the wiper motor and painted it silver because it just was so boring under here seeing everything in black. Everything was totally painted. Missing a few things. You can see they used a different kind of linkage here for the carburetor on the V8, so I'm going to put all that linkage back on the firewall. And definitely this is going to be the new home for the junk E-Type and junk E-Type motor, sorry. So yeah, that's a quick look around the engine bay. Let's clear out the inside and have a look there. Holy, look at all the junk that came out of the E-Type. Yeah, I guess over the years we just kept putting more and more stuff in, and now it's finally time to get it all out and see what we got. Do a quick tour of what we got here. Here's some of the splash shields. Got these from Chuck at Monocoque Metalcraft. The aluminum slightly thicker gauge, so they stand up a little better. Got some original upholstery pieces here. Don't know if I'll be using many of those, but I will try to resurrect these original sun visors. Got some pieces for the air filter. So I got the original AC can here on eBay a while back. Original set of trumpets from Welsh. Had to paint those up and put them on a restoration car for a while. Got an intake plenum here, but it's the early smooth styles, so I think I have a rib style at home I'll put on the car. Here's a cooling fan, single bladed unit. This one's dead. I got it from Sovereign Motors. Probably have that rebuilt, put it on the car. Stuff that you need to find when you don't have an engine with an E-Type. Trans mount, motor mounts, stuff like that. Pretty hard to find it really if you don't want to buy it new. This is pretty cool. It's an original Phillips Radiomobile, or Smith's Radiomobile, sorry. And yeah, that's gonna look really nice in there. seat tracks, the original tack for the car. Here's the hood hinges. I just decided to kind of restore them with some cadmium finish. I don't know, I think painting these would be a good option though, because I've seen these really get corroded with water and salt, and they're right next to the tires, so just leave them for now like this, but they might have to get painted in the future. Here's some exhaust manifolds. This one's good, it's correct for a Series 1 E-Type. This one isn't so good. It's a Series 2 unit that my buddy Simon lent me, so if anybody has a rear exhaust manifold, please let me know. I'd definitely be interested in that. And yeah, it keeps on going on and on from here. Got way too many lights. Already have a full complement on the car. Some cool stuff hiding in this box. Got some original battery hold downs. ×2, I don't know why I ended up with 2, but I have 2 complete sets there. 3 alternators, some old resonators, intake manifolds when I thought I was gonna have to piece one together. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff here. It's nice to get it all out. And with it out, let's go have a look at what the inside of the car looks like. All right, just got the interior cleaned out. It's looking just so-so. What I mean by that is a lot of the original upholstery is long gone, replaced by this carpet. So yeah, this whole shelf area here, it should be vinyl, like a textured vinyl, not carpet. But I guess it's usable, but it's just not correct. It would really upset the purists. Also, the sills are carpet too. They shouldn't be. One of the first jobs is going to be putting the rear door glass in and just getting this vinyl back in shape. I think over time it just shrinks and it wasn't glued that well, so going to get that done. If we go into the inside of the car here, there's lots more to see. These pleated door panels are custom. Pretty ugly, but whatever. Just roll with it for a while. Transmission area here, this was a lot of work 2 years ago. This was an absolute complete abomination of a trans cover to really house the Tremec transmission. And I spent a lot of time in here welding and grinding, getting these panels in. They came from Chuck at Monocoque Metalcraft, and he also provided the original transmission cover there at the top. So that was nice to get all correct. Now we can go into the instrument panel area here and the fuse boxes. And you can definitely see the black paint in there, so this was probably a black car. Yeah, it's nice original dashboard, original dash cap. There's some original pieces still in here. Like I think this piece is original, the cantrail is still original. So yeah, a lot of good stuff. One important thing to note is that these are the original floors. They're all looking nice and solid. So yeah, I'm not gonna really be ripping too much into that or replacing any more metal, which is lovely. I guess one of the last things I'll do is just remove these panels and we'll see what the gas tank area looks like and see what we got in there. Just got those panels out. We can have a look at what the gas tank looks like here. It's kind of nestled in the car, so it has to be super tight. Don't want any leaks, otherwise you get fumes inside the cabin, which is no good. It's kind of a interesting part about the E-Type design. Original piece of upholstery here. It's just sitting there loose. Have to glue that back up. But I like stuff like this. It's real horsehair jute or some sort of jute, and it just has that original upholstery smell. Looks like some new fuel lines were put in at some point, so not a totally decrepit system. There's some sort of fuel pump hanging down there. Just look at the belly pan here and its strengthening ribs. These always rust out, so I'm going to throw some cavity protection spray down those strengthening ribs. But yeah, this is looking really super solid. This is a constant area where these cars rust out. You can have a look in the corners and stuff like that. Usually if it's been an accident, this belly pan's all usually bashed out, but this one looks really good. Super happy about that. One thing that's kind of funny here is that the sender's just sitting there, no fasteners, and this cover, well, it's just loose as well. So I'll reset up the camera. We'll see what it looks like inside the tank. Yeah, so this is the original fasteners that held down this pickup tube. You can see it's a small little 1032 with a 3/16 copper washer. I like to save the hardware and reuse it. It just makes things look correct. Okay, now we'll be able to take the feed tube up and out. It goes all the way down into a well. Now it's hicking up a bit. This early cars here, this is where the fuel pump was, believe it or not. Okay, so here we go. Underside of the pickup tube is looking really corroded and nasty, so before I reuse that, probably would want to blast it or treat it. Into the pickup tube, usually there's a sock. This one is has something on there like some coating, something black there. Now I can see down into the fuel tank, it's looking pretty corroded, so that means either gonna have to get a new gas tank or clean this one out, and you can coat them. So that's gonna be a big job, but yeah, it's all part of the process. Not gonna really get a car that's been sitting for 20 or 30 years and expect to see a great fuel tank. Okay, this rusty tank is coming out. Just got 3 bolts, one here, and one in behind. I'll remove this bracket as well. That'll make it way easier. And got to deal with the filler neck in there. And there's a drain tube as well down in there. So get all those things disconnected, as well as this well down here. That's where the pickup tube goes down into, so get that out. And I'll show you this tank and how it slides out. There she is. Okay, the fuel tank's out. Look at the belly pan. Yeah, I'm liking this. It's looking really solid. A bit of overspray and some body work drizzle that came through where the taillight is there. So yeah, probably want to get this cleaned up. One thing I really want to do is get rid of all of this old seam sealer. You see the rust just in there? So I'll take that out and we'll treat that, show you what that looks like. You see this original pad in here? That's the way they were. And there was also a pad that the fuel tank was sitting on, so that's pretty interesting. But yeah, what I want to do is just get all this seam sealer out, and we'll rust convert it and probably just brush paint it under here. But yeah, just make it look nice before the tank goes back in. All right, let's see what we can find underneath this undercoating. I have a feeling that maybe this drain was leaking a little, and we might find some surprises in here. I'm just gonna pick at it with this tool. Yeah, let's see what we get. Okay, I wasn't really surprised to find a bit of corrosion underneath that seam sealer. It was showing a little bit of signs in there, but yeah, it was trapping a lot of rust, and it was going to trap a lot more moisture in the future and just rot out this whole area, so I'm glad I got in there. What I'm going to do next is really clean and prep it to really treat this rust with some rust converter. First thing I'm going to do is get all the oil off, really clear the, because I'm gonna get it ready for the rust converter. So this is brake cleaner, got my gloves on, you better believe it. Just gonna try to clean it as best I can before we rust convert it. There, and get all that grease out of there. All right, time to treat this rust with rust converter. It's pretty easy, kind of milky, water-soluble rust converter. This will make all of the rust inert, and you'll still need a top coat, but this is a really, really good thing to do before sealing, and it takes 48 hours to fully dry, so I'm not going to be able to paint. I'm not going to be able to put my seam sealer on until 2 days. For 2 days, but you can see it kind of goes on, like, looks kind of white and milky. It'll dry really, really black. It makes rust look actually quite nice. Whenever I can't sandblast and treat rust, kind of grind it off. I like to use this instead. Yeah, so here's what the rust converter looks like after it's dried a little bit. It'll go completely black. One thing about rust converter is that it's permeable, so you still need to top coat it. I'll put some black urethane on here and re-seam seal this, and it'll look quite nice. It's really the only way to go when you can't get in there and sandblast and remove the rust completely away, is convert it and cover it like this, and I think it's a easy fix, and it works well. Yeah, continuing the theme here, just finding a little bit more surface rust, which is not surprising given this area. So definitely going to treat this, clean it all up like we did in the corner there. One thing I noticed that's kind of interesting are these holes next to the strengthening ribs. They just have these little metal prong plugs. And they're not waterproof, and so that lets water in underneath this tar surface into the strengthening rib and begins the corroding process of the belly pan. So yeah, that was a pretty terrible design. So definitely want to treat this rust, plug those holes, and get this looking good. And eventually throw some cavity protection spray in the ribs. So yeah, keep on going here. All right, it's up in the air. Let's see what we got. Yeah, you can see it's basically black, the original undercoater, and maybe some black paint. Going over to the edges, got typical overspray that didn't mask the bottom of the car. Right here there's a bit of bad bodywork done, a little bit of Bondo filler in there, and I guess that was to repair a jack that was not that good. The rear end here looks pretty good, pretty clean, but it's gonna have to come out because look at those brakes up in there. Yeah, those don't look very good. And finally, the belly pan. Let's have a look at that. Looking nicely painted. No real issues. Still see the original spot welds. Loving that. Just you can see a few holes here where I poked through from the other side. I'm just gonna fill those up and leave the real repair for the next time. Yeah. So yeah, looking good. Nice and solid. Got lots to work with here. All right, here's my fuel tank. Look at that, doesn't that look lovely and clean? But I know it's still rusty inside. Todd, my friend at Fox Customs, he blasted it in here. And yeah, it looks really good in the chambers he had access to, but I know it's still a rusty tank in these chambers that he couldn't get into. So that's why I'm gonna use this POR fuel tank sealer. Really gonna seal it up. I have some sacrificial plates and sender here to really seal it up. I'm gonna put that in there, shake it all up, and we'll see what the end result looks like. I think in the optimal situation, unlimited budget, just buy a new tank. For all the time and money it takes to take these things in and out, just get a new tank. Okay, let's make a mess. Ooh, it's kind of clumpy. I think I'm gonna mix this in a mixing cup. Yeah, I think I got it mixed up here, but man, that was pretty solid in there. Holy. Oh, got the good stuff. Wonder how much is going to come out. Did it fill the well? It says it has to drain for 30 minutes. Take 96. Oh shit. Yep. It's kind of prepared for that. Okay, we'll see how much comes out. Almost, looks like almost half. Holy smokes. Put this down. Good thing I had gloves on, eh? Get a rag. Okay, managed to recoup about 2/3 of the sealer, and I don't just want to waste it. So one of the tricks that I learned from painting is that if you put argon from your welder and fill in the cavity with nothing but argon, it'll help preserve the sealer, and that's because it gets no oxygen. So I'm just going to fill this full of argon And I put a bit of fuel tank sealer around the lip, and hopefully that'll make it good for another use. I'm gonna get sealer on my fingers here. Should have wore gloves. All right, just got this vinyl spray painted with some fabric paint. I'm gonna have to touch up the edge there, but I think it'll look okay. Birds are loving it. Got that fuel tank there just dripping. It's gonna take 96 hours to cure, 4 days. So we'll have a look at that in the next episode, paint it up and install it, show you what that's like. Also put in these pieces, they have to go in before the windshield, we'll put that in. We'll also have a look at the front nose. It's hideous, and I'm just gonna do a fit and see what it looks like, and then maybe make some adjustments. And that's all for the next episode, so that's it. Thanks for watching, everybody. As usual, if you have any tips, tricks, comments, trade secrets, write them in the comments section below. I'd love to hear from you guys. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you later. Bye-bye.